Good morning and welcome to the Australian Water Association's special National Water Week member webinar showcasing Australian water utilities' contribution to the Sustainable Development Goals through the Water Utility Improvement Program. The theme of National Water Week is reimagining our water future. Today, we will hear from a range of Australian utilities living this and helping bridge the Australian water sector with water utilities across Southeast Asia to inspire a sustainable water future. My name is Paul Smith, AWA International Manager, and I'll be your MC for today. I would like to begin this webinar by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which we virtually meet and pay my respects to elders past and present. For me, this is the Camaragal people of the Guringai tribe of the Eora Nation. Today's webinar is all about showcasing the efforts of Australian water professionals and utilities contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals through sharing of experiences to help water utilities in Cambodia, Vietnam and Indonesia improve water and wastewater services. It's been an absolute joy to observe the 13 Australian utilities involved in the past 5 years of the program to make a meaningful contribution in lifting the capacity of water operators in those countries. And perhaps a highlight of the journey for me has been seeing the deep and enduring friendships that have been formed between our water operators, which you'll hear about today. We're very pleased to have the support of the Australian Water Partnership as well as the Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade in delivering this water utility improvement program. During the seminar, you'll hear from 8 Australian water utilities on their experiences. So please have a think about the questions you'd like to answer and post them in the Q&A box down below your screen. So without further ado, I must now welcome Carmel Crowe, the Australian Water Association President, to provide welcome remarks. Carmel, over to you.
Thank you very much, Paul. And I too would like to acknowledge the traditional lands on which we are all doing our business today and acknowledge the traditional custodians of all these lands and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. Now, just a quick introduction and hello from me, because I know you want to hear from all the different speakers about this very, very exciting program that we're all very, very proud of. This program, the Water Utility Improvement Program, is all about connecting water utilities from Australia and Southeast Asia to share knowledge and innovation to support improved water and wastewater service. Of course, access to clean drinking water and safe disposal of wastewater are two of the major issues facing emerging economies across the Indo-Pacific. These challenges share many similarities to those that the Australian urban water sector have faced and managed through many years of nationally coordinated water reform. So there has been and there continues to be a real opportunity for the sharing of problems and solutions. The Australian Water Partnership has supported the Australian Water Association to facilitate this program between 2016 and 2020, and has involved multiple water utility twinning relationships between Australian water utilities of different sizes and perspectives with counterparts from Vietnam and Indonesia. This model was subsequently transferred to Cambodia under a separate program between 4 Australian and Cambodian water utilities funded by DFAT Cambodia. And of course, this program started before COVID hit us all. We've been very proud of the team that we have been able to pivot the program to support the Australian government's development policy by broadening the scope of knowledge sharing digitally to include practical approaches to managing the impacts of COVID-19, and more recently to support the transfer of methods to detect COVID-19 in wastewater. We are all here today to share in the pride that we all experience in seeing the great work that the Australian water professionals that have been involved in the program across the networks and how they've showcased some of Australia's contribution to the SDGs. I really want to thank the Australian Department of Foreign Affairs and Trade and the Australian Water Partnership for their unwavering support for this program in Indonesia, Vietnam and Cambodia. And by doing so, enabling water operators to share information to help respond and recover from COVID-19. I also want to especially acknowledge and thank the huge efforts of all utilities from Australia, Cambodia, Vietnam and Indonesia for your support of this program and the tireless effort that you've all put in to share information and inspire a sustainable water future. So thank you for listening to this short intro, and I really hope you enjoy the webinar. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Carmel. I would now like to pass to Rory Hunter from the Australian Water Partnership to provide welcome remarks. Over to you, Rory.
Thank you, Paul. And I'd like to pay tribute to the Ngunnawal people who the land I'm meeting on today, to leaders past, present and emerging. As Paul mentioned, my name is Rory Hunter. I'm the program manager of the Australian Water Partnership. I'm very happy to very improvement programs in Indonesia and Vietnam. And we've also, very fortunate to have been able to support the Cambodian water utilities in the pivot to COVID-19. The water utility improvement programs are one of our most successful programs that we've supported. Not only are we sharing knowledge, practices and tools, developing capacity, but we're also building very close relationships between Australia and the water utilities in Cambodia, Indonesia and Vietnam. And I guess one of the most pleasing things is that, it's not just Australia transferring knowledge to Southeast Asia, but the Australian water utilities are also learning a lot from the water utilities in Southeast Asia. And that's a really important part of this program. And I think Paul mentioned the friendships. And those friendships have been very important, I think, in making sure that, we can still deliver support virtually. When COVID-19 first hit, I guess in February, March, we turned to the Australian Water Association, but also the water supply associations in Cambodia, Indonesia and Vietnam to ensure that we could help ensure that the water utilities could thrive through the pandemic. The Sustainable Development Goals are very important in this respect. I guess COVID-19 has really shone a light on the importance of access to water, firstly, in terms of water and sanitation. But then also in terms of building resilience, we need really strong water utilities to ensure that water can be distributed for domestic use, for industries, to help as part of economic recovery. And we did learn a lot as well from Southeast Asia in the response to COVID-19. And we've been happy to share information and build tools around that area. So I'll keep my introduction short, but I really wanted to thank you all. So that's the Australian Water Association, but also all the water supply associations in Cambodia, Indonesia and Vietnam. We really value this program and we hope to provide ongoing support in the future. As Carmel mentioned, we're really looking forward also to applying our knowledge from sewage surveillance in relation to COVID-19 detection. It's not the be all and end all, but it's a very important tool to help target testing as we move away into a COVID normal. Things like wastewater surveillance are going to be very important to ensure that countries can get back on their feet, start building their economies again. And then when you have COVID outbreaks, hopefully dealing with those at a localised level. And the wastewater surveillance activity is another one we're very happy to support. So on behalf of the Australian Water Partnership, I wish you well during the National Water Week, but also I hope you enjoy the seminar today and thanks for inviting me along. Thank you, Paul.
Thanks, Rory. Thank you very much. Look, many of the Australian utilities involved in our WUIP program and involved in today's seminar are involved in the domestic program called Colossus of testing for COVID in wastewater. And the program Rory was talking about is essentially harnessing those experiences, building the partnerships and transferring the methods to support our northern neighbours. So without further ado, we'll now kick off with the water utility presentation, commencing with Josh Quinn. Josh, would you like to share your screen and commence your presentation? Thank
you. Thanks, Paul. My name is Josh Quinn. I'm the water quality scientist at Southeast Water, and I have the pleasure today of presenting some of the outcomes generated by
Thanks. Yeah, a little bit emotional about friendships, but that's okay. You just gotta.
Sorry, Rory, you might want to mute that.
We good? Before I begin, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we are meeting. For myself, that is the land of the Bunurong of the Kulin Nations. I also acknowledge other Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders peoples with us today, and acknowledge all elders past, present and emerging. So the program revealed many benefits for South East Water. It provided an initiative to put into practice skills that do not often get exercised. So South East Water staff were offered a great opportunity to revisit and relearn skills. It also had an intrinsic effect of encouraging the transfer of knowledge between senior and junior staff. There are limited occasions for senior and junior staff to work together on the same projects. And even more rare is the ability to work together on projects in the field. So the program has been a great enabler for knowledge transfer locally. For myself, it's been an amazing opportunity to gain experience in a water sector that is still in its infancy. Working in such a well-developed industry such as Victoria's, it's a bit of a blessing and a curse in terms of learning opportunities for YWPs. There are fantastic and well-established pre-existing networks, guidelines and procedures, but there is very little exposure to any of the advantages offered by working in a sector that is still developing. The greatest opportunities to learn exist in those environments and surroundings that are inherently uncertain and unknown. So being able to work within the Cambodian landscape where the solutions to water quality and water supply problems are not obvious and definitely not easily transferable from the Victorian sector has been an amazing learning opportunity for myself as a YWP. And I'm very grateful to both AWA and South East Water for making that opportunity possible. In terms of benefits for Cambodia, our partner twins, Kratchma, Bekchan and Kompong Chomlong have been able to adopt improved water quality and water supply methods into their daily operations. So Kratchma and Kompong Chomlong installed analog to digital flow meters on the outlet of their treatment plants, which now allows them to view variances in their minimum night flow and detect leaks in their network. All three utilities are making progress in terms of implementing chlorine contact time principles into their treatment plant process, which is having a large impact on the quality of water being supplied to their customers, and is also a good step forward in terms of achieving SDG 6. Most importantly, Kratchma, Bekchan and Kompong Chomlong and the wider Cambodian private utility sector have gained industry partner in South East Water to turn to for ongoing technical support and advice. South East Water has a wealth of knowledge and experience in their senior staff, so having access to that knowledge when needed is a massive resource for Cambodian utilities. In addition to technical support to greatly improve their water quality and water supply efficiencies, our partnered Cambodian utilities have been able to seek feedback regarding suitable options for technology investment, so that what limited capital they have available is invested wisely. South East Water is working with all three Cambodian utilities to deliver suitable tech solutions that address existing problems, such as asset location and chemical dosing processes. In terms of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals in the Asia Pacific, I can speak from my experience with assisting South East Water's partner utilities. What has become most obvious is that the success of the Utility Improvement Program in Cambodia was structured on the foundations of genuine friendship. Why make an emphasis on friendship is because friendship it allowed the true nature of communication, allowing both deliverance and reception of information, which is crucial when it comes to providing assistance with targets as complex as the SDGs. So I think the most effective way of the Australian water sector contributing to the Sustainable Development Goals in the Asia Pacific would be to prioritise industry integration with a key focus of abstaining from industry intervention. It's a story as old as time now, where well-meaning WASH initiatives and interventions crumble as soon as or shortly after the in-country presence of foreign support disappears. And this consistently happens around the world for a multitude of reasons that I don't have to go into now. However, an effective method of circumventing this trend is through the establishment of ongoing and permanent in-country industry relations within respective water sectors, which the AWA is pioneering through the program, such as the Water Utility Improvement Program. These programs will, however, be critically challenged by current pandemic restrictions. So it's incredibly important that we continue to build on previous efforts so that relationships gained not only endure, but are enriched going forward, so as to allow those relationships the capacity to share the burden of achieving the Sustainable Development Goals together. And that's it for me. Thank you for listening.
Thank you, Josh. Wonderful insights. Please, everyone, collect your questions and park them in the Q&A box. So our next speaker is Tom Robbins from South Gippsland Water. Welcome, Tom. Please share your screen and commence your presentation.
Hello all and welcome. I'm Tom from South Gippsland Water. We're in partnership with PD Jaya from Jakarta. They're a wastewater operator in Jakarta. So the benefits experienced within our organisation was building a working relationship with PD PAL, which has been great from the early onset of the program. Building a relationship is very key to get things done in the program or achieve outcomes in the program. So the knowledge sharing between both companies has been great. They've visited us, we've visited them several times. The knowledge sharing from asset management to how we run our sewer systems, camera work and inspecting our sewer systems, getting into insight into their systems on how they work it's almost like going back a step, because some of their sewer systems are non-existent. 11% of Jakarta is actually sewage, so there's a lot that's just goes out into the street or into the waterways. So with improving business systems is high for them. Trying to lessen the environment impact, like automation of their sewer pump stations, so that it's now running 24 hours a day and no longer running into the river when no one's on site, or they haven't turned the pumps on for a while, or because beforehand it was manual. Gaining insight into another culture and the community has been great for our organisation, seeing how they run and how the different community works. It's been great to see how they've improved their business over time, or over the short time that we've had with them, by the implementation of the knowledge that we've given them. Benefits and experience for the partner PD PAL. So the improvement to their sanitation infrastructure has been great. They've been able to see the benefits of having a 24-hour operating sewer pump station. So from running maybe 6 hours a day to now running 24 hours a day, less has been less going into the environment and more going into the treatment plant. We've had a great working relationship with them. Asset management plan, which they are now implementing so that they can have a full asset register and get their assets costed out so that they can replace assets instead of the replacing assets when they break down. They can maintain them better and have a better understanding of how much it's costing to run assets. Also, the GIS mapping has been a very big one for them, not knowing where their infrastructure is or how it runs or the size of the pipe. So they've been running through getting all the mapping system up and running, which is now benefiting them when they go and do a sewer blockage or all sorts of maintenance on the sewer system. So they've been able to find the things on the sewer system a lot easier, and we've given them a lot of resources to share within the program, so that they've been able to look through those and implement them within their workforce and work area. So the Australian water sector definitely can contribute to the Asia Pacific. It is great for both businesses. It's a great outcome for us as a business, because we can grow as a business and get to have insight and share our knowledge and relearn the knowledge that we have. And for them, they can gain a lot of knowledge within the program, and the business improvements can be great for the whole business, as in for sewer upgrades or implementation of new assets and all sorts of things. The culture, it's great seeing the culture in another country, and also getting an insight in how their culture works, which then you have to work with within the program. So you gain their culture while you're there, and learn how to implement in your home life. Environment, we all want to help and improve the environment. So by us, we've tried to help improve their environment, which we hope we're achieving. And the health benefits also within the program. If the sewer's not going into the rivers and waterways, then there's definitely health benefits for the rivers and for the people who wash and bathe in the water. And that is the end. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Tom. For those that don't know, Jakarta's actually sinking at an alarming rate, and in part from the over-extraction of groundwater. And that's raising a whole series of challenges, in part from due to water pollution and untreated wastewater discharge. So it's great to see Tom and South Gippsland Water being able to make a contribution to that. So our next speaker is Sandrika Ryan from Unity Water. Sandrika, please step up to the floor, share your slides and start your presentation.
Thank you, Paul. Can everyone see that? Right. Good morning. My name is Sandrika Ryan, Project Manager from Unity Water, living and working on Gubbi Gubbi land. I pay my respects to the original custodians who have looked after these waterways for generations. I'm presenting today on the experience between Unity Water and PDM Surabaya, a major city of about 3 million people, and for reference, about 6,000 kilometres of pipelines. Since the signing of the partnership agreement, Unity Water and PDM Surabaya have formed a continually evolving partnership, something that has stayed its course in terms of mutual objectives, targets for Surabaya's improved water and wastewater services. But what we have seen is something, I believe, far more remarkable. At the start of the program, 3 key things immediately emerged. 1, there are many quick wins, things to tackle first, such as engineering standards and specifications, pilot projects. 2, their employees are extremely devoted. They are experts in their field, just as you would see in any Australian utility control room, treatment plant or the like. Whilst they have abundant areas to build capacity, their desire to improve their practice and customer care is what is most inspiring. So really this partnership program has been an honour for Unity Water to work with professionals like these. And 3, it was really apparent up front that they genuinely want to know more about gender equality and inclusion. However, this is one of the most complex parts of the program, requiring patience and a deep respect for different culture, something we as Australian water professionals, in my opinion, may only be able to offer a glimpse of insight into, and thus really need to be focusing our energies on active listening. From the first visit, attending the IWWEF, which is like their version of Ozwater, and then hosting PDAM Surabaya at Unity Water last November, the benefits of the program were really swiftly being realised. As you can see here with our 4 areas of capacity building, our focus in what we formed as the action plan, we guided through various knowledge sharing mediums, including things like master classes. So PDAM Surabaya, and we're partway through the program here, have completed a full HACCP analysis of one of their critical water treatment plants. This has actually been a big step forward in water safety planning, not just for the large city of Surabaya, but to all Indonesian utilities. Since the start of the program, the start of this year, non-revenue water has dropped to 24%. From what was greater than 33% when we first visited at the start of the program. And PDAM Surabaya have now actually reported they are well on their way to achieving full certification of ISO 55000, a commitment made at the start from their managing director. So to reach this milestone partway through has been really rewarding for us mutually. And if I could draw attention to just one aspect that for me personally was a real game changer. During their visit to Unity Water, they witnessed one of our female crew members undertaking a pipe repair. Whilst this didn't mean much to us at the time, it was later reported that this was a major mentality shift for one of their PDAM Surabaya male managers. And he personally extended a message to his staff, as you can see on the screen there, reiterating that with the right tools and safety measures, there is no reason to exclude females from taking on more technical or field work. This is currently seen as very taboo in their businesses. And with that comment, giving some insight, I'll end with 3 comments about how the Australian water sector can contribute to the SDGs. So number 1, as Australian water professionals, we have this unique opportunity to make just one seemingly small mark to mentor perhaps just one group of professionals in the Asia Pacific. But this then leads to flow-on benefits for other water businesses across their regions. An important point to consider is selection of water professionals or a business that is moderately developed with a platform to extend their learnings in country. In fact, PDAM Surabaya have twinning arrangements with 4 other utilities, including an organisation all the way in Bangladesh. Already they have shared non-revenue water analysis tools from this partnership with us, engineering standards, network pressure design, and water safety planning with these organisations. A small mark, yet a profound ripple effect. Number 2, this project has exemplified for us that the first step truly is about forming trusting relationships, being transparent and considering that cultural barriers aren't necessarily barriers when we consider there are in fact so many common goals between us. Something specific I can share is the young water professionals component of this program. The challenges they shared in an early seminar were just so familiar to what I myself have been through just recently in the past couple of years. And number 3, the SDGs we are focusing on are not just about improving water and sanitation. We see through partnership programs like this that inherent to this is actually a focus on inclusion and reducing inequalities. It's actually about understanding that our rights and privileges are just as important as others. And so we as Australian water professionals have a responsibility to our neighbours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sandrika. What an inspiring story with some tremendous outcomes that you've been able to achieve in such a short time. One observation I must share is at the start of the program, before the utilities from Australia were connected, we did engage with the government of Indonesia and many of the water utilities around GESI, gender and equality and social inclusion. At the start of the program, there was very little interest and understanding, and what Sandrika and the other utilities involved in the twinning program in Indonesia have been able to do is remarkable by exposing and sharing their journey of enabling Jessie domestically. It's opened the eyes of our colleagues and friends from across the Indonesian water sector. So well done, Sandrika. Now I must welcome Julie and Luke from Yarra Valley Water to the fore to present your outcomes. Julie and Luke, over to you.
Thanks, Paul.
Thanks, Paul. Let me just get it up. There we are. Hi, everyone. I'm Luke Dixon from Yarra Valley Water, and I'm co-presenting with Julie Moka today. We're both from Yarra Valley Water, which is located in Melbourne on Wurundjeri country, and we would like to pay our respects to elders past, present and emerging as well. We've decided to both present today because, like everyone in the broader water utility improvement program, it has been a team effort, and we thought this would be a good opportunity to ensure we represented both the technical and gender equality, social inclusion sides of our team. All of us involved in this program, from both Yarra Valley Water and our partner organisation, Tirta Sanjiawani Guyana, who are located in Bali in Indonesia, have felt incredibly lucky to be a part of this program. And I think the experiences that we'll all remember the most relate to cultural immersion. For me and the Yarra Valley Water team, we've learnt about Bali and Indonesia's religion. We've cleansed ourselves in the healing waters there. We have tried a lot of new foods. We've visited rice fields. We have even experienced protests in Jakarta. For Tirta Sanjiawani team, for many of them, it was their first opportunity to travel internationally as part of this program. They've seen Melbourne's laneways. They've tried some of our modern Aussie cuisine and haven't enjoyed some of it in certain scenarios. They've also learnt that we face many of the same challenges that they do. This program has been a great opportunity for all of us to see how these cultural differences can impact on the working environment, and I'll let Julie talk a little bit more about this.
Thanks, Luke. Yes, the cultural differences were a challenge, and it wasn't just from a language perspective. Building a gender inclusive culture takes time, and it takes an appreciation of the people in the organisation, their backgrounds and their mindsets. Understanding our twinning partner and respecting their culture and how it plays out in their organisation was absolutely pivotal in Yarra Valley Water being able to offer meaningful support and guidance. Complexities of social hierarchies on top of the normal bureaucracy, the heavy integration of religion in their lifestyles, and their connection to community were all things that took time to understand during the program.
The benefits of the program from a YVW perspective, there have been plenty of professional development opportunities, in particular improved communication skills. Trying to communicate complex technical ideas through language barriers is quite a challenge, and I think we've learnt a lot, and Sandrika spoke a little bit about thinking about how you ask questions is something that's really important. We've had exposure to those very different perspectives that we just spoke about. And of course, the opportunity to contribute to achieving SDGs is really important for us at Yarra Valley Water. Something I didn't expect to build so strongly was the personal connections with the Balinese team. I've had a lot of laughs along the way. When I started the program, I was clean shaven, quite young looking fellow. And through COVID, I grew a beard and they hadn't seen me for a little while. And then when we did catch up online, they started calling me the Australian Chuck Norris. So a lot of fun and some really genuine friendships that have been developed throughout the program, which I think are really foundational, particularly now that it's more of a remote program than what we'd probably initially hoped for. From their side, many of the benefits are obvious. There's those building of capacity, there's the new ideas and ways of thinking that we can bring. But again, something that surprised me is that a lot of what we've been doing is building their own confidence in their own ability. There are some very intelligent people at Tirta Sanjiawani, and the number of times we've simply validated their ideas and their approach is considerable. And a lot of the successes that they've seen as an organisation are really on them, and we've just sort of given them a nudge in the right direction more so than anything. The water industry has a huge ability to contribute to a wide range of SDGs. There's obviously the direct contributions, water quality leading to safe water, improving non-revenue water leading to more efficient water use and reduced costs, supporting with asset management to lead to more resilient infrastructure. But all of these have flow on to other SDGs, such as climate change, reducing inequalities, economic growth, and the potential for this program to create a huge impact in a wide range of SDGs is really powerful. And I think Sandrika hit on a really great point around the ripple effect of this program.
Yeah, and in particular, SDG 5, gender equality, and SDG 10, reducing inequality, specifically call out gender equality and social inclusion related topics. However, they're targets that talk about gender right across the different goals. For example, SDG 8 talks about full and productive employment and decent work for all men, women, people with disabilities, equal pay for work of equal value. As a water service provider, whether it's in Australia or in Indonesia, we need to be thinking and taking action about gender and other inclusion issues within our own workplace, but also within the way we design and deliver our services to our communities. This is why early on in the program for us, we made the decision to intertwine the Gender Equality and Social Inclusion Action Plan within the broader technical plan to really give it the same level of importance as the technical work that was going on. It's been an incredible journey for Luke and I, as well as the entire Yarra Valley Water team on the program. We've built really strong connections with our friends at Tertis and Joani. Sharing our knowledge and experiences have broadened our mindsets for each of us to take back to our own organisations. And finally, our connections with each other in our day-to-day lives at Yarra Valley Water and with the Australian participating partners has also deepened. Thank you to AWA for providing us with the platform to share our journey today. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Julie and Luke. What a story. I reflect on a conversation I had with Pac Mayday, the CEO of Jenya Water Company, prior to the start of the program, where with tears in his eyes, he explained his lifelong dream to travel to Australia and thanked us for the opportunity, not only for him to travel to Australia, but to be able to bring his water utility and staff to be involved in the journey. So great work, guys. And we'll now move to our next speaker. Peter Stapleton from Whitsundays Water. Oh, hang on, is it Peter Ottram? Sorry, Peter Ottram from Riverina Water. I've got my Peters mixed up. Over to you, Peter.
Thanks very much, Paul. Hello, everyone. I'm Peter Ottram. I'm the Operations Superintendent at Riverina Water County Council, located in Wagga in southern New South Wales. We're a single-purpose council, so we only supply potable water. And just let me start the screen sharing. I hope that's up. So Riverina Water.
I'm going to go to the full presentation mode.
Okay, hang on. How's that, Robbie?
That's good.
Thanks very much, everyone. So Riverina Water is has been partnered up with An Giang Province in the Mekong Delta in Vietnam in the Water Utility Improvement Program. I'll start by just quickly going through what our major problem is with trying to help An Giang. The major issue is unaccounted for water. So they have between 15 and sometimes 40% water losses through their system. And so this creates a lot of pressure on the treatment system and obviously affects their income stream. The things we looked at thus far, and we've only just started the journey with them, COVID's cut short at the moment until it goes away, until we can restart again. So we've only spent a couple of days with NGN. So we were looking at inaccurate domestic metering, inaccurate bulk metering, maybe pipeline leakage. They have a lot of white PVC, these glued joints, and possibly theft, but that's probably a long shot. The way forward, so in the 2 days that we had in Nangjiang province and with them, they took us for a tour of the worst affected areas. First thing to do is to get a plan. So what we did was ask them if it's possible to cut their reticulation system up into some zones and install some zone metering to try and track down where the worst problems were. They've done that and provided with some data. They're showing a lot of enthusiasm, so they're being very enthusiastic in trying to get on top of this problem, and it makes our job easier. Benefits to Riverina Water. So we're a rural water authority, so sometimes we're closeted out here in southern New South Wales, and it broadens the horizons of the staff being involved in this program. The opportunity for staff, myself as one of them, to use our skills and knowledge to contribute in some way to helping others, particularly in Vietnam. It also, I'm sure Riverina will take the opportunity to foster a long-term relationship with the people from Nangjiang and exchange information, offer help and receive help if we need it. During the last few months, we've had a couple of webinars to exchange information on our approaches to the COVID situation. Particularly Vietnam seems to have done very well because they're a densely populated country and their ability to stop the spread of the virus. My personal benefits, a chance to broaden my own personal knowledge. I've been in the water industry a long time, and so this has opened my eyes into a lot more ways of being able to help people, learn how the Vietnamese authorities approach the sourcing, treating and delivering of the safe water to their local communities. I also got the chance to get to meet and get to know water professionals from across Australia and Vietnam, particularly during Viet Water. There's a feel-good factor that we all like. It makes you feel good to contribute, even if it's a small way, into achieving even one of the 17 United Nations Sustainable Development Goals. There's also the intangibles. So the photo at the bottom is an intangible benefit. Drink a beer with your boss. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Peter. Excellent presentation. I can reflect with much joy the last photo you shared, and I can share some similar photos throughout my journey. Okay, we'll now move to our next speaker, Peter Stapleton from Whitsundays Water. Peter.
Good afternoon or good morning, everyone. My name is Peter Stapleton from Whitsundays Regional Council, and I travel with my colleague Eston Hughes to visit Viet Ha and Mr. Dong in Nam Dinh, which is about 2.5 hours south of Hanoi in northern Vietnam. And yeah, as a few of the other presenters have mentioned, it was an amazing experience and really beneficial for us. And I honestly, I think I speak for Yeston as well, sincerely believe that we got more out of it than we actually gave to Viet Ha, just in both personal and professional experience that we gained. And some of the things that we learnt while we're over there, disaster recovery and resilience. We learned how they dealt with disasters because we obviously have cyclones in North Queensland and they're actually going through a pretty bad situation at the moment with the floods and storms that they've got. So that's something else we'll probably build on and share with them with their experiences that they're currently experiencing at the moment. We've also provided network opportunities for Yeston and myself as Peter mentioned, at Viet Water, we've developed networks from all across Australia and around the world. And we hope to proceed with them and develop them as we go. Also seeing outside the box type of thinking. I guess when you're taught in Australia to deal with issues and things presented to you, you kind of become a set way of thinking, whereas over there, some of the solutions they had to even just simple things like leaky valves and water loss, we learn a lot. Just as Rory mentioned too, their enthusiasm to get things done and to solve it when they don't have the resources that we do, it was really eye-opening, and has made us think outside the box on several occasions. You don't always just have to throw money at it, just think creatively. Being exposed to a different, much older culture was also an amazing experience and gave us a complete different appreciation of the people and the culture that's so much older than what I'm used to experiencing. And also been exposed to people like Mr. Dong. There's a wealth of knowledge, and I've got a lot to learn and continue to learn off him and Viet Water and his employees. And also we had the opportunity to meet with the regulator as well. And that was a really beneficial experience as well, obviously having to deal with the regulator in Australia. So to hear their point of view and a lot of the good things they had to say about Viet Water and the things that they were doing in the community was really beneficial. And also just knowing all the similar issues that we're all facing, as some of the other presenters, you don't, I guess, really appreciate that a lot of the time, that people across the other side of the world are going through similar things that you are. The benefits and experiences that we've believed we've given and hope to give to Viet Water, I guess it was empowering and humbling to feel we actually feel we need to lift some of our own standards to compete in the global marketplace. So yeah, obviously we were, some occasions we had a greater water loss in some of our communities than what Viet Water actually did in their network. So that was humbling. We also hope to help them with strategic decision-making processes, optimization of treatment plants and networks, sampling processes and procedures, and water safety plans. We also hope to help them with the same challenges we grapple with, such as demand management and instantaneous demand. So we have similar challenges, obviously capacity in reservoirs and treatment capacity is also limited. So trying to keep up with that in a network such as theirs with very limited, well, they don't have a main reservoir at all, so they actually rely on the customers' tanks. So yeah, that's helping us think outside what we're normally dealing with, to see if we can come up with some creative solutions as well, and also help them with location of service connection, and also where the district metering to help with their water loss, and also water pricing for their customers as well. That's obviously a significant concern. It potentially can't charge the customers what you would to recoup your running costs. So that's an interesting challenge. And also and I'll put inverted commas, smaller water service provider, because they actually supply 4 times the population that we do, but significantly less volume. So that has its own challenges. And then you've got levels of service and things to deal with. So as I said, we're kind of learning as much from them as we hope to help them out. So it's a great experience. And with the insights into the Sustainable Development Goals, we believe we're helping them with Goal 6 of clean water and sanitation. And they're doing a fantastic job at doing this themselves. But we're hoping to, I guess, make it more efficiently, and also share data, share resources, and experiences. So hopefully we can share issues and mistakes that we've had and challenges that we've managed to overcome. So hopefully they can benefit from that, because we've certainly benefited from the other way. And also assist them with intake buffering of their dams and water treatment plants to target better raw water quality, so then they can reduce their chemical costs in the plants and optimise there. Goal 9, industry innovation and infrastructure. We're hopefully able to provide us advice and assist in asset management and maintenance, as a couple of the other presenters mentioned. And we're seeing returns for careful asset assessment and target intervention. And VET-HAR can learn from this, and we'll provide that information to them as well to help them out with efficiency in the long term. And also, we've got hopefully the opportunity for goal 17 in partnerships. And we feel like we're in a good position to make this into a long-term partnership that extends past, or well past, the life of the water utility industry program funding, and keep that alive, because obviously there's we're keen and motivated, and we've kind of made our business keen and motivated to keep the partnership going. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Peter. A common theme we're hearing through all today's presentations, and I've certainly heard throughout the journey, is the two-way knowledge sharing, that the Australians are learning as much from our counterparts in Southeast Asia as they're learning, and particularly about being innovative with very little resources. So on that note, I'll now pass to our final speaker for today, Katie Hardy from Singleton Council, to share their experiences with Vietnam. Katie, over to you.
Thanks, Paul. Hopefully we're up and running. So thank you very much for the opportunity to present today. I'm Katie Hardy, Manager Water and Sewer with Singleton Council. And we have partnered with Nean, Rural Water Supply and Environment Joint Stock Company, on this partnership program in Vietnam. So before starting, I'd like to pay my respects to the Wonnarua people as the traditional custodians on the land that is now known as Singleton Council and the Singleton local government area. And unlike some of the other program participants, Council is a relatively small rural council in servicing approximately 24,000 customers, not only on the standard roads, rates and rubbish, but also water and sewer. We have a relatively small team of 25 people delivering water and sewer services, and we deliver to approximately 20,000 customers. And we certainly feel like we're a world away from Nean, who delivers water services to about 8,800 residents in the beautiful rural setting in the mid-north of Vietnam in Nean. So the benefits to Singleton have been extreme. We've felt very privileged to be a participant in this program, and have relished the opportunity to visit Nean, attend Viet Water, and have Nean visit Singleton. We've felt so very welcomed by the Vietnamese, both in Vietnam and again in Australia, and it was lovely to get the opportunity to develop real friendships across languages and countries. It's definitely provided us an opportunity for the whole team, from operators to engineers, so right throughout our business, to test their skills and experience both in person and remotely. Through focusing on Nean's request for assistance with asset management, leak detection, and expanding their business, we've been able to demonstrate some of the techniques we use, but also review how we do things in light of some of the questions they've asked. We've also taken the opportunity to see how Nean has solved some of the similar problems that we've experienced. And it's also been great to see Nean's gender diversity within their small team, and for them to see ours. Both teams have in common that we have female engineers, which is fantastic to see. This experience has also improved how our appreciation of the high quality water and sewer services that we do get in Australia, and has been very validating for the water and sewer team to be recognised both by the rest of Council, but also by the community as a technical resource able to work with those from other countries to develop their skills. So Nean has had the advantage of expanding their team of 12 to include the 25 members of Singleton's team to work on their non-revenue water, asset management and expansion of their business. Through this partnership, Nean has seen at least a 30% decrease in non-revenue water, and this has been achieved through reviewing operations at their treatment plant, operations of their network, installation and maintenance of flow meters. They've also been able to replace much of their network using methods that will reduce leakage into the future. They've begun to develop an asset management framework, and council has been able to provide assistance in their chosen asset management computer software. And even outside the water and sewer team, that assistance has been there from across council, which has been fantastic to see.
Katie, sorry to interrupt. We're just not seeing your slides at the moment. Are you able to put that in presentation mode?
I will try again.
Maybe just large them, Katie. I can see them, but they're on the small version. That's it.
Perfect.
Okay, cool. Is that still going?
Yes.
Perfect.
Oh, excellent. So the team at NEAN has also been very interested to see some of our guiding documents and principles that are second nature to Australian water utilities, for example, the drinking water management, the drinking water guidelines, and how they're put into practice, which has been a fantastic opportunity for us to share. So in relation to the Sustainable Development Goals, it's been abundantly clear to us in visiting Vietnam that clean water is very much taken for granted in Australia, and that even when water utilities in Vietnam are providing treated water services, there's not yet the community trust in these treatment measures. So I think there's a great opportunity for Australian water utilities to work with these utilities to build the treatment and reticulation reliability to enable their communities to take advantage of reticulated clean water rather than relying on bottled water. It was also clear that our counterparts in NEAN were keen to take advantage of technology available in Australia and Vietnam, and there is a great opportunity for Australian water utilities, both big and in our case quite small, to demonstrate these technologies in a real world context. This enables our partner organisations to make good investments with the often limited community and grant funds that they have available to them. So I think the power of the water industry in Australia in contributing to the achievement of the Sustainable Development Goals in our Asia Pacific neighbouring countries is in making small changes and turning theory into practice alongside these water utilities. So I can't say enough how much we've greatly enjoyed the experience and are looking forward to continuing our partnership arrangement with NEAN, which sadly has been delayed somewhat by COVID. But I can definitely see how this partnership has benefited not only NEAN being the obvious beneficiary, but also all members of the team right throughout, right from operators all the way through to other members within council. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Katie. That was incredible. 30% reduction in non-revenue water over the course of the program. And one highlight for me is not only the knowledge transfer leading to these results, but the motivation that the Australians have been able to stimulate within the participating twins in Southeast Asia has been remarkable. Okay, we'll now break to questions and answers. Robbie, would you like to facilitate the first question?
Certainly, Paul. So there's been a question that's come through in the Q&A box about the utilities approach to the Sustainable Development Goals and how it links in with your own organisational strategy. So to Luke and Julie, are you able to just take us through a bit about how this program aligns with Yarra Valley Water's Sustainable Development Goal objectives and your strategy, and just a bit more information on that?
And I'll also ask all the Australian speakers to open their screens.
Thanks.
Thanks,
well, I might talk from a gender equality perspective. So Yarra Valley Water has signed up to the Sustainable Development Goals, and we have absolutely been on a journey, particularly around gender equality. So we're in our second diversity inclusion strategy, and absolutely aligning them to not just our corporate strategy, but the SDGs. So yeah, in relation to our focus, particularly around SDG 5, our strategy it's quite clear in our people strategy with our link to gender equality, and also then moves into that diversity inclusion strategy space as well. So very much a strong commitment, and out of those strategies come action plans, and then putting things into practice at the local level within the organisation. And Luke, I'm not sure whether you want to talk to it from a technical perspective.
Yeah, so from an asset management type perspective, we're certainly doing a lot at looking at resource management, at waterway management, more broadly circular economies, energy efficiency, using more renewable sources. There's the world's your oyster in that space at the moment. So there's some very well integrated strategies and doing a lot to look at water resource management and integrated water as well. So there's a huge amount of initiatives that all do link back up to the sustainable development goals and are certainly heavily built into our business. And I'd say they're probably there even before the sustainable development goals came along, and that's just given us something to align around in terms of the SDGs.
Thanks for that. I have a question for Katie. One person's asked a bit about how your organisation has gone to commit to the program, and do you have a customer mandate to spend time on this? Can you talk us a bit about Singleton Council's approach to joining the program?
Yep, absolutely. So no, we don't have a specific customer mandate, but I will say the community has been incredibly supportive, and we haven't hid the fact that we've been involved in this program. So we did seek the endorsement from our executive leadership team and did let our councillors know before we committed to the program. But I think how we've achieved a quasi-customer mandate is in letting the customer know that we're doing this, and also the benefits not only to the Singleton community but also Neon's community, in the sense that Singleton, whilst fairly small and fairly rural, can actually be seen as doing something more and something greater than perhaps our customers ever thought we'd be able to do. So we found them to be very receptive, which is fantastic.
Excellent. Got a question for Josh. How have you found the language barriers, and how have you overcome that with your work in Cambodia?
Very challenging at the start. To their credit, a lot of the Cambodians speak a basic level of English, so that was very helpful. Even more so within CWA, so we really took advantage of them as translators a lot to facilitate communication. But then back home as well, communication is stressed even further, being remote. So we've actually reached out to local Cambodian communities to see if they can assist us with providing some sort of translation services.
Excellent. And I might actually extend that to Peter Outram. Just talk about your experience in Vietnam with the language barrier.
Yeah, so pretty much the same as Josh. We had a couple of very good translators. So once they understand what the outcomes of the meetings and the planning is, they certainly do a really good job. And so while it extrapolates the time taken to get to any sort of outcome, certainly you rely on the translator a lot.
Excellent. And maybe one final question for Sandrika. Have you seen any benefits to Unity Water? Lots of the other presenters have spoken a bit about what they've gained. Are there some things that you've seen at Surabaya that have been you've been very impressed by that you could perhaps take on in your own organisation?
Yeah, there's probably been two main observations, and we've then relayed that to our executive leadership team. One's probably, and one flows into the next, is whilst they're, as I mentioned in the presentation, they're absolute experts in their fields and they take a lot of pride in their work, there is just this insane amount of collaboration and cross-team communication. There doesn't really seem to be limitations or boundaries in their own organisation. It's all just about getting everybody involved to innovate and solve a problem. So for example, if there's a problem with, we've had a major pipeline trenchless issue, they don't just get the one particular capital works team to look into it. They source ideas and support from everyone in their team. There's just this consistent commitment. we're trying to share a lot of that, and we're taking a lot of that back, and considering what we can do about those kind of philosophies of working together. And then the second thing that I suppose that flows into is we've observed they can get their projects endorsed and started a lot quicker than we do. There's obvious other reasons for that, but when we first started tackling water safety planning and looked at secondary disinfection, they said to us, all right, we're going to put together a proposal for building and installing, commissioning 7 secondary disinfection stations, boosting stations. And within 3 months, they had the budget approved, on site, built, commissioned. And we were just obviously amazed that they can progress these kind of work so quickly.
Excellent. And one quick question to finish for Peter Stapleton. What are you hoping to achieve over the next 6 to 12 months with your relationship, and what activities are you hoping to see?
No worries. We're hoping to give back to them as much as they've given to us, but particularly around water safety plans. I know Sandrika mentioned about the HACCP analysis of the water treatment plant that they've just built. So we got an opportunity to see it. It's about halfway through its construction phase, and again, we were amazed, Sandrika, the same thing about how quickly they can mobilise workforce and get things built. So we're really keen to view that facility now that it's completed and providing water to the community. And we've already been asked to help provide innovations and opportunities for water loss, billing, asset management, and life cycle costing as well, and optimisation through the treatment process. And I can't remember, I think it was Rory might have mentioned about chlorine residuals and things like that. So they're really keen. Like they've come a long way so quickly already, but it's amazing their thirst to keep innovating and keep progressing and moving forward. It's just, it's really inspirational. We think we've kind of got a good handle on it, and they just want to keep advancing. So they have, I guess, a goal as we do, but they just, like, once they hit that, it's like, what's the next one? What's the next one? What's the next one? And we've, I guess, Yeston and I have really taken that on board back in our own roles. And we hope to help them with that as much as we can.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you to all our Australian speakers today. It's been really terrific to hear your stories, and we look forward to working with you moving forward. Thank you to all the participants online, and thank you to all those that have been involved from the Australian Water Partnership, DFAT, our partner associations. Without your help, this couldn't work. On a concluding note and a personal reflection, over the course of the water utility program, I've met my lovely Vietnamese wife, and one of the outcomes over that journey has been our recent Vietnamese Australian son. So I'd like to share some of my outcomes. He's looking a bit frustrated at the moment, but an outcome from my end. Thanks, guys, and we'll close the meeting now.
Love it, Paul. Good work.
Appreciate a day.